Hello everyone, my name is Tim DeMoss. I'm the Environmental Affairs Officer for Air Quality here at the Port of Los Angeles, and this is my career report. I'm going to reach in here and get some of these questions today and answer them as well as I possibly can. What did you do while in college that has benefited your career now? Oh my God, what a loaded question. I did a lot of things in college that have benefited my career now, but mainly I went to school to be a civil engineer, and in doing so, I learned a lot about the environment, and I work in the environment today. I've worked in air quality for the last 15 years, and I've worked here at the port for the last 14 years in air quality. Next question. How has the pandemic changed your workplace and the industry you work in? Excellent question. It has changed our workplace so much I can't even begin to tell you. First of all, my staff, the air quality staff, is working from home and has been telecommuting ever since the pandemic started. I personally live in this neighborhood. I like my office. I have a couple screens, and so I come into work every day. I've come into work every day since the pandemic has started, but I miss my staff. What we do now is we work on a Teams application, and so I'm able to still see them and talk to them on a regular basis. We talk every day, we email, we do the Teams application. And so it's working out, but it's certainly affected the way that we do business. We seem to be getting all of our work done, so that's worked out well. Next question. Can you share a specific experience that helped you realize you wanted to work for the City of Los Angeles? Is there a reason you have stayed for so long? Well, excellent question, and I have stayed for so long. As a matter of fact, when I graduated from Loyola Marymount University back in 1991, I went to work for the city 2 weeks later. I had no idea that I was going to work for the City of Los Angeles. As a matter of fact, I'm from Las Vegas. My family still lives in Las Vegas, my parents, my brothers. But I had a group of people from the City of Los Angeles come to our school and interview us. And I did well on the interview, and they offered me a job. So I started working for the city, and I enjoyed it. What I said was I was going to do was work for a couple of years, and then I was going to go out and work in the private industry. But I enjoyed it so much. I liked the benefits. I liked the people that I work with. I liked the projects that I was getting. And so 2 years turned into 5 years, turned into 10 years, and I've been here with the city for 29 years. Let's go to the next question. What is your favorite aspect of your role? Oh man, well, let's put it this way. I was a project manager for environmental projects for the first 24 years of my career. And after that, I was able to promote to be a supervisor. And since then, I've promoted to be an environmental affairs officer. I really work with policy for environmental projects. But the favorite aspect of my role is working with other people. I've really enjoyed becoming a manager of staff and watching the people that work around me and work on different types of environmental projects grow in their career. That to me is my favorite aspect of my job. Excellent question, by the way. Next question. How has your experience with the city and port been so far? My experience with the city and port have been excellent. If you are thinking about working for the government, working for the City of Los Angeles, working for the Port of Los Angeles, I highly recommend it. It has afforded me a wonderful life. I'm married, I have a child who is 12 going on 13 years old. We live here close to the port. He plays sports. I really appreciate and am grateful for my job and for my experience in working with the City of Los Angeles. It's been great. Working for the port has been my best experience. Before I worked here, I worked for the Bureau of Sanitation. I worked for the airports, but the port has been extremely challenging. And the projects that I get to work on are very gratifying because the stuff that I do helps the community. What we do is we work on strategies to reduce emissions from the big pieces of equipment the large sources that move freight in and out of these ports. And we've been very successful at reducing those emissions. And as a result, the community is experiencing better air quality than they have in many, many years. I live in the community. My wife has asthma. My son has asthma. It makes me feel really good to know when I go home at night that I'm doing something to help the community. So my experience in working for the port, working for the city has been nothing but positive. Next question. In addition to racquetball and boogie boarding, what's something else you do for fun with your son? So my son is the love of my life. I love my wife, but I got to tell you, my son he means so much to me, and he is coordinated. He does really well in sports. He plays soccer. He plays baseball. So one of the things that I do with him is I practice his sports with him. We go and throw the ball a lot, the baseball. It says on here, that the other things that I do with him are boogie boarding. He's just taken up surfing recently, and so I go out in the water with him a lot. I haven't taken up surfing yet. He's gotten really good at it over the last 2 months. I personally am happy to continue boogie boarding. I enjoy it. I love being out in the water. I love going to the beach, love being out in the sun, and I love being with my son. So those are some of the things that I like to do with my son. Looks like I got 2 more questions. Let's see what we got here. How does a typical day look like for you at the Port of Los Angeles? All right, great question. So a typical day for me is I wake up, get out of bed, and I go for a walk, about a 4-mile walk. I used to go and play racquetball in the morning, but since COVID hit, the racquetball courts aren't open. So as a result, I go for a nice long walk, and it kind of gets my blood flowing and gets me in a good place. Go home, take a quick shower, get dressed, and I come down here to the port and I start working. When I get in, I look at the different emails that I've received from staff to see what they're working on today. If I need to, I'll call them, or we'll have a Teams meeting and we'll talk about some of the projects that we need to work on, some of the action items that are due for the day. A lot of the stuff that we're working on these days are large grant funding programs to move towards advanced technologies. This is like one of the really coolest places to work if you're into reducing air emissions, because we look at moving towards zero emission technology. So zero emission drayage trucks, zero emission cargo handling equipment. This is stuff that is cutting edge. This is stuff that you don't learn about in school. You can't, because we're working on this stuff for the first time. A lot of my day is spent talking to the agencies, talking to stakeholders, talking to businesses about the status of these technologies, where we're at with our current demonstration projects, when these projects need to be done. A lot of our work revolves around writing board reports, around doing presentations at different places around the city to different stakeholders, whether it be the public or regulatory agencies. I'm busy every day, and my staff is busy every day, and we're grateful for that. When you're busy, the day goes by faster. Those are some of those. That's a typical day. A typical day for me entails writing, speaking, working with others. And finally, why is 42 your favorite number? I got a feeling I was going to be asked that. And here I am looking at 42. 42 was my number in football in high school. In all actuality, my first number when I played Pop Warner was 82. When I got to high school, 82 was taken. So I got 42, and I was fine with it. I wasn't extremely pleased with it, but whatever. When I went back to my 10-year reunion, my girlfriend from high school that I hadn't seen in many years told me, every time I see 42, I think of you. And I said, why is that? And she reminded me that it was my number in football. Well, as a result of that, I started seeing 42 everywhere. And I'm talking, you name it, it showed up. And one of the coolest things is 42 is the number of Jackie Robinson. And they have a day in baseball where not only do the players wear the number 42? Every player in the league wears it, but also the umpires. So everybody in these stadiums has 42 on. And 42 for me basically means when I see a 42, it means it's going to be good luck. And it also means that God is tapping me on the shoulder saying, remember that I'm here, that I'm watching over you. So I see 42 everywhere. And I'll give you an example of a 42 that showed up in my life just recently. I refinanced my home. And as a result, I reduced the amount that I have to pay every month on my monthly mortgage. The loan officer that assisted me in going through with that refinance, completing that refinance, his birthday was April 2nd, which is 4/2, which is 42, and we closed the deal on April 2nd, which is 4/2. And it was very successful. As a matter of fact, now that we're 6 months later, I'm working with him again to refinance again, and it looks like I might get another couple $100 off my monthly mortgage. That's 42 for you. It works for me. I'm grateful to have it in my life, and I'm grateful that you asked me that question. I'm Tim DeMoss, and this has been my Career Report. For more information, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.